is up, guys? Welcome back to yet another tier list video. I'm your host, BC Kane, and recently I decided to show you guys my love, or I guess my former huge love of WWE by ranking every single pay-per-view from 2007, and today we're ranking every single pay-per-view from 2008. Now, this year is very special to me because this was my first full year as a WWE fan. So, I have rewatched all of these pay-per-views numerous times, and I think I can make a very good tier list as far as how I feel about each pay-per-view, which ones I thought had the best match quality. So, let's get right into it. We're going to do a one-and-done take similar to last time. So, here we go. So, first up, we have the Royal Rumble. We had the, of course, Rumble match with John Cena winning. We had Edge and Rey Mysterio in a match for the World Heavyweight title. We had JBL taking on Chris Jericho. We had MVP against Ric Flair. And we had Randy Orton against Jeff Hardy for the WWE title. It is kind of weird how there's only 5 pay-per-view matches here. That kind of feels like a modern-day PLE, right? Where there's only like 5 matches. But compared to the last one in 07, this one was pretty solid. I will say the Rumble match had like one of the best like star power, or probably the best star power of actually no. I think it had pretty good star power. I think it's like one of the Rumbles that had like one of the best star powers of all time. So we had like Batista, we had Cena, we had Triple H, we had Orton, we had Jimmy Snuka and Roddy Piper came in. That was cool. We had Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. It was a pretty stacked field. It's not the best Rumble match, but it was very, very enjoyable. And then of course we had John Cena, who was supposed to be out with injury for like up to a year. After 4 months, he came back and he won the whole damn thing. He shocked the entire world. And then Orton and Jeff Hardy was a pretty good WWE title match. Real good story being told there, with Jeff Hardy trying to, win the big one finally, and he didn't end up doing that, but it was still a really good match. Edge and Mysterio was okay, could have been better. JBL and Chris Jericho was also kind of good, but it had a pretty weak finish in my opinion. And then Flair and MVP had a pretty solid opening match. So overall, I probably rank it at like an A tier. Not the best Rumble pay-per-view we've seen, but as far as ranking based on other 08 pay-per-views, it's pretty good. A pretty star-stacked Rumble match and some other good filler matches in there. It's pretty good, so gets an A from me. Alright, so let me go to No Way Out real quick because I got my pay-per-view thing pulled up here. So, No Way Out 2008. So, we had 2 chamber matches. We had the match for the, we had a SmackDown and a Raw one. We had the SmackDown one between The Undertaker, Batista, Finlay, MVP, The Great Khali, and Big Daddy V. And then, of course, we had the Raw one with Triple H, Jeff Hardy, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, Umaga, and JBL. These ones are pretty star-stacked in terms of chamber matches. I will say, I think they're not that great overall. I think the Raw one especially felt, it felt a bit rushed at times because of the fast counts that were happening. And also, some of the ways they were eliminated was kind of weird. Like, you would see HBK super kick Chris Jericho and then Jeff Hardy gets the pin. It was kind of weird for me, but they were still very good chamber matches. We had Cena against Orton for the WWE title because he cashed in his WrestleMania title shot early and shocked us all. And then he won by DQ, which was kind of weak, but it did set up that the match at WrestleMania, so it kind of makes sense, I guess, but kind of a weak finish. Edge and Mysterio, ooh. See, their match at Rumble was okay, but this one was kind of not that great. And I think the reason why is because Mysterio was injured, and he wanted to compete still, I guess. So, it was a 5-minute just whatever match. It was kind of disappointing. Although the Big Show's return afterwards was kind of iconic, and that did end up setting up Big Show versus Floyd Money Mayweather at WrestleMania. So that was good, I guess. We had Flair and Mr. Kennedy in a career-threatening match. Okay, I guess. Chavo Guerrero and CM Punk for the ECW title. You know what? It's a solid opener, I think, right? Yeah, I would say so. It's only like 7 minutes, but pretty solid ECW title match to start. But overall, though, I would rank No Way Out like a low B, because the chamber matches were kind of here and there a lot of the time. The Raw one felt rushed, as I said, and then the WWE title match was kind of... It was good, but it had a weak finish, and then a pretty disappointing World Heavyweight title match between Edge and Rey Mysterio, and the rest also was just kind of okay to good, so we'll give that a very solid B, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Alright, now here's the thing. Here is where my bias completely takes over, and I'll explain why in a minute. WrestleMania 24. The very first fully open-air WrestleMania. No, I'm not counting WrestleMania 9. I cried about it in the comments. But this WrestleMania felt spectacular. It was also the very first pay-per-view I ever saw live. So this show has a lot of nostalgia for me. I was watching WWE, Raw, and SmackDown, and I was like, you know, these are good. But then I watched WrestleMania, and I'm like, whoa. This massive crowd in this awesome open-air stadium. Like, I was wowed. And honestly, might be a bit biased, I still think in terms of overall spectacle, this is still one of the best WrestleManias of all time. Is the match quality up to snuff like 31 and 39 and 17? Not really. But in terms of overall presentation and spectacle, it's one of the best in my opinion. So in this event, we had JBL against Finlay in a Belfast Brawl. Pretty great opener. It's only like 8 minutes, but it was good for what it was. A pretty super solid Money in the Bank match with CM Punk winning. We have Batista and Umaga in a pretty okay match. Kane beating Chavo Guerrero in 11 seconds for the ECW title. We had Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair in a highly underrated career-threatening match where Shawn Michaels ended Ric Flair's career. That match was kind of a bit slow at times, but it was still a good match overall. That gets a bit more hate than it should. The Playboy Bunny Mania Lumberjill match, it was whatever. We had Randy Orton against Triple H and John Cena for the WWE title in a triple threat match. A very underrated triple threat match in my opinion. I like that one. And Orton won. Good booking decision. We had Floyd Money Mayweather against The Big Show in a no DQ match where Floyd Money Mayweather knocked out The Big Show. And people did not like it. I didn't mind it, but I can see now why people maybe didn't like it, because they were hot for The Big Show. And then, of course, we have the main event being The Undertaker against Edge for the World Heavyweight title, in which The Undertaker went 16-0, extending his undefeated streak. And, like I said, overall, match quality could be better, but in terms of presentation and just how spectacular this whole event felt, it's gotta be an S. It might be bias coming through. I know people are going to say that in the comments probably, but I love this WrestleMania. It is not just nostalgia. I can rewatch this any day of the week and still have a great time watching it. It is just a spectacular event, and I loved it all the way through. And like I said, I might be biased because this was my first ever, full live pay-per-view watch, but even then, it's still a fantastic event, so I enjoyed it. Alright, now we have Backlash. We have Matt Hardy against MVP for the US title, in which MVP's long title reign finally came to an end. We had Kane and Chavo Guerrero in a rematch from WrestleMania, in which Kane was victorious. We had Big Show and the Great Khali in a pretty not-so-great Giant versus Giant match. We had HBK against Batista with Chris Jericho as the guest referee. That was a good match, I think. We had a pretty forgettable 12 Diva tag team match. I won't list all the names here, it's kind of too long. But we had Undertaker and Edge, and that finish where he makes Edge tap out but then keeps the hold on, and you see Edge bleeding. That was a pretty badass finish, and you see Edge getting stretchered out. Pretty good stuff. And then the main event, we had Triple H against JBL, John Cena, and Randy Orton for the WWE title in a Fatal 4 elimination match. I gotta say, I did not think Triple H would win this. I thought Orton would continue his reign, but no, Triple H won, and honestly, I was okay with it. So, yeah, in terms of pay-per-views, I think this one's not really, it's not bad. I think there are some stinkers in here, but, compared to No Way Out, I would put it maybe just below you know what? No. I'm going to put it, maybe slightly above No Way Out. Because I do think No Way Out had some slowness to it. But Backlash wasn't the best quality, but it didn't feel quite as slow in terms of match quality as No Way Out did at times. So, they're kind of even. I can see it going either way, but in terms of my personal preference, I put Backlash just slightly above No Way Out, but they're both still very good B tier pay-per-views, so we're good there. Alright, Judgment Day. This one for me might be a bit forgettable in terms of which ones I remember like watching all the way through, because I did watch all these live, but I didn't have that many reactions to this one. I don't know why. We had John Cena against JBL in a pretty okay opener, I would say. We had a tag title match. We had Michaels against Chris Jericho. That match was really good. I enjoyed that match with HBK and Y2J. Not quite up to their WrestleMania 19 encounter, but it was still good. Women's triple threat match was okay. Edge and Undertaker ended by a countout for the World Heavyweight title. That was not really as good as their WrestleMania and Backlash matches, but it was still a fine match with a pretty not so great finish. We had Jeff Hardy against MVP in an impromptu match, and then we had Triple H against Randy Orton in a steel cage match for the WWE title. And that main event, it was okay. It wasn't that great though. I think we've seen better steel cage. Like there weren't any like really big moments in that steel cage match. Like it was fine and it was a good finish, but it didn't feel quite as, you know, memorable as some of the best ones. Like you know, I'm trying to think of a good one. Like I don't know, but it's just it wasn't that great of a steel cage match, but it was fine. So yeah, I think overall this event is kind of carried by Michaels and Jericho having a really good match. But the rest is just kind of mid to okay. So for me, this might be my first C tier. Not a bad event, it's fine, but there are definitely better Judgment Days out there. But this one was just kind of mid to low tier for me. But it was fine. I don't have vivid memories of watching Judgment Day, and what I did watch was just not too great. What was great though is One Night Stand. I will preach this right now. I will always be a fan of extreme matches. If matches can get me invested story-wise and have some pretty understandable violence, I'm all in. Pun intended for AEW. Alright, so this one we had Jeff Hardy against Umaga in a Falls Count Anywhere match. A really good opener. I enjoyed that one. We had a Singapore Cane match between The Big Show, Chavo Guerrero, CM Punk, John Morrison, and Tommy Dreamer. That one was kind of okay. It was kind of a bit too much of, you know, the cane and not too much like actual wrestling, but it was good. Oh, here we go. Cena against JBL in a First Blood match, which I think is still the last one we've had before the PG era took over, right? So, it was a good one, I think. Not the best one we've seen, but it was good. We had an I Quit match between Melina and Beth Phoenix. That was fine. Batista and Shawn Michaels in a stretcher match. This one had some pretty good storytelling. We saw Batista just batter Shawn Michaels and he wouldn't give up, and then we had Chris Jericho come out and he tried to stop him and he failed miserably at that. So pretty good storytelling in that stretcher match. We had Triple H against Randy Orton in a last man standing match for the WWE title, which had a pretty sick finish where Orton goes for an RKO and he actually breaks his collarbone on the fall. And I don't know if that led to an impromptu finish with the sledgehammer, but it was, like, no offense to Orton, it was pretty sick to watch. Like, he got hurt and that sucked, but just seeing how that happened, it was kind of badass, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the way his arm just, like, I don't know, I don't want to get into it, but it was a good last man standing match. And then what was also really good was Edge and The Undertaker once again in a TLC match for the World Heavyweight title, where Undertaker lost, and because he lost, he was banned from WWE for a couple months, I think. So, I wouldn't say it's my favorite TLC match ever, but it was, like, easily A tier. I enjoyed that one. Plus that finish where you see Undertaker go through, like, what, 4 tables off a ladder? Pretty extreme stuff. So for this one, I'm giving it an A. Even more than Royal Rumble, in my opinion. We had some really good storytelling in some of the matches, really good violent moments, a really good main event, a good opener as well. So for me, it's not quite S tier, but it's It's like on the verge. It's like almost S-, but very, very high A tier for One Night Stand. I really, really enjoyed watching that one all the way through. It was a really, really good watch. Alright, we have Night of Champions, where every title is on the line. So, we had Morrison and Miz against Finlay and Hornswoggle in a pretty forgettable tag title match. Not the best opener. We had Matt Hardy and Chavo Guerrero in a United States title match. That one was pretty solid, I think. We had Mark Henry against Kane against The Big Show in a triple threat match for the ECW title. And that one kind of sucked. That one kind of sucked. Like, when you put three giants who can't move that quickly against each other, it's not a good match. Like, I know nowadays we do get people who are giants who can have a good match. Like, we got Bronson Reed, we have Braun Strowman. But these guys could not have a good match. So, it was a good result where Mark Henry won the title, but it was a pretty bad match. We had Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes winning the World Tag Team titles in a pretty surprising twist where Cody Rhodes betrayed his partner Hardcore Holly, and, you know, I guess he won and lost the match because he was Holly's tag team partner, but he helped Ted DiBiase win. It's kind of weird, but it was a surprise twist, and that was Holly's last match in the company, so what a way to go out. We had Kofi Kingston surprising the entire world and beating Chris Jericho for the Intercontinental title thanks to Shawn Michaels. So, good result there. I enjoyed that one. Women's title match was kind of forgettable. I won't even talk about that one. Yeah. We had Edge against Batista. Their matches are usually not that great. No offense to them, but like they had a couple in 07. Like they had a good steel cage match, but this one was kind of just it was alright. Plus the finish was kind of with Chavo being the referee and whatnot, but it was fine. It could have been a bit shorter than what it was, but it was fine. The main event, though, where we had Triple H against John Cena, that is a star-studded main event, and honestly, might be a hot take, I don't know. This, for me, tops their WrestleMania 22 encounter. Like, I like that match, too, but this one just felt more technical. It felt more streamlined. It felt more like they knew each other's, movesets and how to counter each other. And it was a really, really solid main event. I enjoyed it. So if I had to rank this one, there are a bit of stinkers in here, like that horrible triple threat match for the ECW title. I would probably put it at a B. I would say, you know what? I would say low B. I think No Way Out and I think No Way Out and Backlash are pretty like neck and neck in terms of overall quality. I think Night of Champions definitely falls a bit below that, like where it's not really neck and neck. But I wouldn't put it in C tier because I didn't find it as unmemorable as Judgment Day was, so I'll keep it at a B tier. It's still a good pay-per-view overall. Alright, the Great American Bash. I think this one is a tad bit underrated for certain reasons, and here's why. So, we had a fatal... I don't want to stutter, but we had a tag title match between Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder against Morrison and The Miz, Jesse and Festus, and Finlay and Hornswoggle, where we finally saw the end of Morrison and Miz's very long tag title reign. And the Edgeheads, I did not think they would win, but honestly, pretty good result. So there you go. We had Matt Hardy against Shelton Benjamin for the United States title, and that was another solid one. We had Mark Henry against Tommy Dreamer in a pretty forgettable ECW title match where he got betrayed by Colin Delaney. We had Jericho against Shawn Michaels. This match, oh god, the story of Jericho and Michaels in 08 is by far the best. Like, every match they were in was fire, and this one was like, not their best encounter, we'll get to that one eventually, but it was like top to middle of the road. It was a really good one. Plus, we had that amazing finish where we saw Michaels bleed, and then the referee had to call the match. He was like knocked out or something. So that was good. And then we had the Divas title for the first time, where Michelle McCool ended up being the first ever Divas champion. We had CM Punk against Batista in a pretty not so great World Heavyweight title match where Kane ended up causing a double DQ. But then, oh man, this match. We had JBL against John Cena in a New York City parking lot brawl. They need to bring back parking lot brawls so badly. Please, when Raw moves to Netflix, bring back parking lot brawls. Because these, for me, are always a fun watch. They did some cool spots here. We saw JBL trap John Cena in a car and then light it on fire. We saw a little forklift thing where he poked through the car and almost like pierced JBL. And then we saw, there was a lot of good bumps here, like a lot of good violent moments and a pretty damn good parking lot brawl. The main event is good, I would think. We had Triple H against Edge for the WWE title, where we saw Alicia Fox and Vicky Guerrero interfering and causing some disruptions. I don't know. I don't think Edge and Triple H have great chemistry, but I think that's because they don't really fight each other a whole lot, right? Like, this felt rare because they really have gone one-on-one against each other in their careers, but it didn't feel special because of that, but it wasn't that good of a main event. So yeah, overall, this might barely be an A tier. Barely. Like, that parking lot brawl was fantastic, plus the Jericho and Michaels match. The rest was not really that bad, but, yeah, some good stuff here. So, I would say, you know what, no. Here's the thing. I would say it's probably, yeah, it's a high B. It's almost an A, though. It's almost an A, but it's not quite there. What is there, though, is SummerSlam. Oh, God. First of all, the stage for this. Oh, man. I miss custom stages so much. You guys have no idea. That is a big reason why I stopped watching after, like, 2022. I'm so sick of seeing the same stages used for Raw and SmackDown. Yes, they help, you know, bring in more people in the audience, but having these custom stages felt so special, man. Like, it gave every pay-per-view its own identity. Like, I really do miss that. I hope they at least consider that for future PLEs once they go to Netflix for Raw. But anyway, moving on, sorry for getting off topic. We have SummerSlam 2008. This one is, like, on par with WrestleMania. I'll put it there now, but let's go through it. So, we have MVP against Jeff Hardy in a pretty solid opening match. We have Glamorella against Kofi Kingston and Mickie James in a match for both the women's and Intercontinental titles. That was a pretty not good match, but good result where Santino and Beth won both titles. That was kind of cool to see. We had Matt Hardy against Mark Henry in a ECW title match where it was 30 seconds long, and it ended by DQ. It's like, why would they do that? Like, if you didn't care about the match, why put it on? It was 33 seconds, and it ends with DQ. Like, why did they even do that, man? It was awful. Like, ugh. CM Punk and JBL for World Heavyweight title was, solid, I would say. Not great, but solid. What is kind of bad, though, is the Great Khali against Triple H for the WWE title. That match was slow. It was exhausting. The Great Khali cannot wrestle. I am sorry. Like, not even Triple H, one of the best wrestlers in the world at that point, could give Khali a good match. And it showed. It was a 10-minute slog, so really low point there. But these next two matches, Batista and John Cena, for the first time ever, one-on-one, that was hype all the way. I was hoping Cena would win, but Batista won, and honestly, I was fine with it. Also, didn't Cena break his neck here when he took that powerbomb spot? I think he did, right? So that was, that sucked, but, let's talk about the main event for a second. The Undertaker and Edge, once again, but in a Hell in a Cell match. This, for me, is one of my favorite Hell in a Cell matches of all time, and always will be. It's not quite up to the tier of, like, end of an era between Triple H and The Undertaker, WrestleMania 28, but it is, like, definitely up there. I think the storytelling was on par, really good spots, beautiful ending, a good aftermatch, too, where you see, Edge get chokeslammed through the ring, and then it gets lit on fire. But, that Hell in a Cell match for me is, like, superior quality. I think the story was great, the moves were great, the spots were great, the action flowed very, very nicely, and I can rewatch. I just rewatched it recently, actually, just to, like, ensure I still felt, you know, great about it, and I do. It still holds up. Like, very well done Hell in a Cell match. So for me, I can see it being put down to A tier, but I think the matches that are really, really, really good are really, really, really good. And, again, the presentation of the event was also spectacular. So I think even with stinkers like Triple H and the Great Khali, I still consider SummerSlam an S tier pay-per-view. I still do. So if you put it in A tier, I understand, but for me, it's just barely an S. Alright, we have Unforgiven, which gave birth to the Championship Scramble and was only seen at one other event, which was the following year, and then they got rid of it. So, it was a cool concept, right? The whole Championship Scramble where you fight for 20 minutes, and then if you gain a pin or submission, you get to be the champion for that amount of time, and then if someone else scores a fall, then they become the current champion. It was a cool concept, but I don't think they went all the way with it. So, we had 3 of these things. We had ECW, WWE, and World Heavyweight titles on the line. And, honestly, pretty good results. We had Matt Hardy winning the ECW one. We had Triple H retaining his title in the WWE one. And then we had the very shocking main event, where Chris Jericho, after just suffering for 30 minutes in an unsanctioned match against Shawn Michaels, that was brutal, violent, bloody, and it was just hardcore to the extreme. He came back in the main event, took CM Punk's spot, who was kicked by Randy Orton, and he couldn't compete. He took his spot and he won. So that actually surprised me. I did not think he'd be back. 'Cause here's the thing, I think a lot of us, even me, thought that somehow, some way, John Cena would come back and take his spot, even though he was just injured. I'm like, well, he's Super Cena, right? He can come back anytime he wants. But no, it was Chris Jericho, who was just in a 30-minute freaking violent match. Like, talk about shock factor, but I enjoyed that result. That actually shocked me. The rest of the card is just kind of mid with Crime Time, tag title match, Divas match, But, personally, I would say it's probably, like, maybe a B. Like a mid-B tier. Is it above Backlash, though? I would say probably not. It's like middle of B. Like, it's above No Way Out and Night of Champions, but, yeah, it's just kind of there. But, the scramble matches were fine, or they were good, but yeah. Anyway, No Mercy. Here we go. We got some stuff here. So, we had Matt Hardy against Mark Henry in a pretty, okay opener for the ECW title. We had Beth Phoenix against Candice Michelle for the women's title. Mysterio and Kane, okay match, but kind of a shitty result. We had Batista and JBL in a very, very forgettable, match for the, number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight title. We had, Big Show against The Undertaker. Oh, wait a minute. Isn't this? Oh, wait, no, wait. Okay. So this is where he knocked him out, right? Okay, never mind. Not the best match, not a great match, but the storytelling, where you see The Undertaker of all people get knocked out, I actually kind of enjoyed it. I did not see it coming, but it made Big Show look strong. He looked like an evil villain coming out of it, and it was good. So, not a great match, but good storytelling. We had Jeff Hardy against Triple H for the WWE title, another solid outing there, where, you know, Jeff Hardy probably should have won here, but they didn't want to have the title yet, I guess, I don't know. But then we get to the ladder match between Jericho and Shawn Michaels. Again, one of the best, probably the best story of 2008. I don't know if it's their best encounter of the year after that awesome Unforgiven match, but it might be like maybe number 2, because this ladder match was pretty damn fun to watch. Good storytelling, good result too, where you see Jericho and Michaels, they're like on top of the ladder pulling the title from both sides, then you see Jericho headbutt Michaels' injured eye to win the match and pull the title down. So, pretty solid stuff. Overall, I would say, there are not, You know what, I would say just barely an A. I might rank Bash as A too, now that I think about it. Because they got some sinkers in there, but, in terms of overall presentation and the stage design especially, and, booking results, I think that makes, No Mercy and Bash, just barely A tier for me personally. But, yeah, No Mercy was great. I enjoyed it. Great main event. Good title matches overall. But, yeah. Alright, Cyber Sunday. I missed this event so much. So, basically, Cyber Sunday is where, well, we mentioned it, or no, did I not mention it last time? Oh, I forgot to. I'll mention it now, I guess. So basically, Cyber Sunday is where the audience gets to vote for all the matches, all the opponents, and all the stipulations. Like, basically, you guys get to pick what happens in each encounter here. So we have Mysterio and Kane in a no-holds-barred match. Pretty good opening. We had Matt Hardy against Evan Bourne, who was like the rookie of the roster in a ECW title match. Pretty solid there. We had a pretty forgettable tag team match between Morrison and The Miz at Crime Time. It was kind of okay. We had the Honky Tonk Man against Santino Marella. Now, reminder, Honky Tonk Man is like, what, 50, 60 years old? He should not be wrestling right now, or at least not trying to have a good, like, title match. And this match was 1 minute and 6 seconds. Literally a waste of time. Because Santino Marella, the champion at that time, taunted the Honky Tonk Man for God knows how long, and then you get your match against him, and it sucks. Like, it was so forgettable. But, we had the Big Show against The Undertaker in a last man standing match. Honestly, it was a good one. Not a great last man standing match, but in terms of ones I've seen live, it was good. It was good. Not the best quality, but it was good. We had Triple H against Jeff Hardy once again, because the fans obviously going to vote for Jeff Hardy, and he beats Jeff Hardy again. Like, they just cannot decide, do we put the title on Jeff Hardy or not? And they chose, once again, not. So, there you go. Then we had Batista against Chris Jericho for the heavyweight title with Stone Cold Steve Austin as the special guest referee. Wait, isn't this where... Oh, okay, I know what happened. So basically, all the people who weren't voted as the referee, which includes Orton, Michaels, and JBL, I think, they came in and, you know, caused some chaos. So, a bit overbooked, but it was fine. Batista won the match, won the world title, only to lose it, like, what, 8 days later on an episode of Raw. So, that was whatever, I guess. In terms of ranking this, I would say it's probably another B tier pay-per-view, I would say. Probably like middle, no. I would say right here. Actually, no, scratch that. I would say probably about here. Like maybe, No Way Out. You know what? I might put it here. I might. Because here's the thing. Like, the stinkers that stunk really stunk in this one. Like, Honky Tonk Man. But yeah, I think, honestly, these final 3 in B tier are kind of similar in terms of having some stinkers in there. But, they could be interchanged. But if I had to rank them, I'd probably keep it at this. But, anyway, moving on. We have Survivor Series. Now, I think this one was actually considered the worst event of the year. I don't agree with that personally, but, I can definitely see why people might not be so high on this one. We had not 1, not 2, but 3 elimination matches with Team Orton, Team Batista. We had Team Raw against Team SmackDown with the Divas. We had Team HB King against Team JBL in the opening match. And all of them were pretty good. The women's match kind of sucked, but, they were fine overall. We had a casket match between The Undertaker and The Big Show, which I do think is a bit better overall than their last man standing match, even though it's kind of shorter than that. The ending, too, was kind of cool, where you see The Big Show destroy the casket, and then the Druids bring out another casket to use for the match. That was a cool spot there. The WWE title match between Triple H and Vladimir Kozlov, where Jeff Hardy was supposed to be part of it, but then he got injured, and it was going to be a one-on-one match, and then you see the GM, Vicky Guerrero, come out, and she's like, oh my god, he's here! Here he is! Is it Jeff Hardy? No, it's Edge, who just had a freaking rivalry with her, but now all is okay? Like, he literally yelled at his wife, and divorced her, and then had a whole story there at SummerSlam with The Undertaker, and now things are okay? Like, I don't know how to feel about that, but, I mean, it was a cool surprise, I guess. I mean, nobody saw it coming, really, but, I don't know. I think story-wise, it was kind of questionable, but It was an okay match too, to be fair, so not really a highlight there. And then we had John Cena make his grand return in his hometown of Boston to beat Chris Jericho for the World Heavyweight title, which was a not their best encounter, but it was good for what it was, and a good reception by the crowd reacted positively to the match and the result and the return. So yeah, I can see why people would think this is a bad event. I don't agree with that personally, but I would say it's probably like low B tier. Like lowest of B. Actually, you know what? Maybe a hot take, I'd put it in C. Like maybe high C. I just don't find myself wanting to watch this one again, you know what I mean? Like it's not a bad event as I said, but like it just, it doesn't scream like, you know, rewatch me now. It was such a good event. It's just like it's kind of there for me. So I can definitely see why people are pretty down on this one, but it was just an alright pay-per-view. Alright, and to end it, we have Armageddon. Now this one, like Judgment Day, I don't remember that well, but I did rewatch it pretty recently, and it's pretty solid overall. We had Matt Hardy against Vladimir Kozlov in a pretty good opening match, I would say. We had CM Punk and Rey Mysterio in a pretty underrated match for the IC title tournament that was going on at that time. We had Finlay and Mark Henry in a not great, or it was fine. It was a fine Belfast brawl, but I think the WrestleMania was probably better. Batista and Randy Orton, not their best match, but pretty solid. The 8 Diva Santa's little helper match, whatever. And again, here's the thing, like, the Divas were not booked well in this era of wrestling. Just keep that in mind. Like, now they are, but back in the day, I had to watch the women put on pretty stinker matches. Like, people did not care about the Divas, but now they do. So, if you missed this era of wrestling in terms of the women, be grateful, because it was bad. Like, they weren't bad wrestlers, they were booked to be bad. That's how I'm gonna put it. Like, they weren't bad overall, but, like, they were booked in some pretty forgettable-ass matches. We had Cena against Chris Jericho in a rematch from Survivor Series, where Cena beat Jericho again, but by submission this time. Not quite as good as their Survivor Series matchup, but it was fine for what it was, I guess. But then the main event, the storybook ending finally happened. Jeff Hardy wins the WWE title. Let's go. Like, it took all year. He was in the very first title match at the Royal Rumble against Randy Orton. He lost that one. He had like, what, 3 or 4 more after that, and he lost all of them. But then we end the year. Finally, Jeff Hardy wins the big one. It was such a good booking decision, and I'm glad they did that. But, overall event, I think it's a very mid to high B tier. Some good quality stuff here. There are some stinkers in there, but, not quite as stinkery as some of these ones in B tier. Oh, wait, actually, wait, A. Maybe I would put it in. No, I'm gonna say B. I'm gonna go with, like, right here. Like, maybe mid-B tier. But, yeah, overall, better quality than, 07 in terms of, match quality, presentation, spectacle, sitting through every event was a lot more, enjoyable than 07 was, in my opinion. But, yeah, there you go. That is my tier list for every 08 pay-per-view from WWE. So, what did you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you guys thought and what you would change. And, yeah, I'll be doing more of these in the future. So, look forward to an 09 tier list, a 2010 tier list, 2011, 2012, so on and so on. And we'll, see how that goes. But, I guess I will see you guys in the next tier list. Bye!